Hey guys, it's Courtney with the Kitchen Garten, and I'm going to show you how to make some goat cheese. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, what kinds of things are you going to need to make goat cheese? This isn't going to be anything complicated. I find goat cheese to be one of the easiest cheeses to make at home. It actually really reminds me of making ricotta cheese. So if you've ever made ricotta at home, the process is very similar, but the outcome is different. Goat cheese tends to be drier and a bit more crumbly than a very soft ricotta cheese. So just so you know. So what we're going to need today to make goat's milk is goat's milk cheese, is a quart of fresh goat's milk. We happen to have friends who have goats, hence the goat's milk. So we've got that. I'm also going to be using lemons. I know when I make ricotta, if I'm out of lemons, I'll use vinegar, and that is the case here as well. If you don't have any lemons, you can use vinegar. Okay, you'll need a strainer and either a bowl to put underneath it, or you can strain into the sink if you don't want to keep the whey, which is what's going to be left over after we've taken the cheese out. You want to have some cheesecloth to gather up the cheese in, is what's going to lay inside the strainer. If you happen to have a really fine mesh strainer, you might not need the cheesecloth, but for cleanup purposes, I love cheesecloth. This just happens to be the one that they have at the store. I typically like to buy a nice unbleached cheesecloth, but use what you got in a pinch. And I'll link below to the cheesecloth as well. It's very affordable, and you can use it for a variety of things like sachets in your soups and such. You'll also want to have a nice pot, a good sized pot. This one's not huge, but just to get your cheese to separate here on the stove. So it's a pretty simple process. We're going to combine our acid and our milk and let it get up to a certain temperature, and you're going to actually start to see the cheese separate. And if you happen to know someone who has goat's milk, this fresh goat's milk is going to be what I think works the best. But in a pinch, you can get what you can get from the store. So let's get started. All right, so I like this. Nice. This is a thick enamel-coated cast iron, a gift from my mother-in-law, so it's great. Pretty sturdy and heavy, but you just want a nice, good pot, good-sized pot. And we're going to start by putting our goat's milk in. Okay. Get all of that out of there. Okay, and then let's cut our lemon in half so that we can get some juice out of it. This lemon was about on its last leg, so I'm going to check and see if it's beyond. Might be beyond. No, still fine. Okay. It's a great way to use up extra lemons as well. We've got a ton in the fridge that my parents sent up from their lemon tree, and I haven't had time to use them yet. So I'm still trying to get rid of just ones I have in the fridge from the store. But I'll be making some lemon curd soon with those others. All right, so I got my measuring cup, and you want to press out. I love this press. Mine's kind of fallen apart a little bit from years of hard use. So I'm going to press out your lemon juice. And you're going for 1/3 of a cup to 1/2 of a cup, somewhere in that range. See how much one lemon will get you, and then go from there. You're probably going to have to use a lemon and a half. And it depends on the size. Like I said, my parents, the lemons I get from them, I could use a 1/2 a lemon because they're humongous. All right, so that wasn't quite 1/4 of a cup. So let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, so grab, I love a nice rubber spatula. I want to make sure that there's no seeds in here, none that have snuck in. There's one, not too shabby. Okay, and we're just going to pour it inside the pot with our goat's milk. Let's give it a good stir. And now we're just going to put it on medium heat on the burner and let it heat up to about 180 degrees. Okay, so while the goat milk, lemon, while our cheese is resting with the lid on, let's get a little cleaned up and then get our cheesecloth prepped. We've got a few more minutes to wait. You want to let it sit about 10 minutes with the lid on, off the heat, before we start straining it. And normally I would just dump it in the sink, but since I'm showing you what it's going to look like so you can see, I'm going to use a ladle, and that's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, so I think we're ready. Our cheese is ready to be separated from the whey. And this is such a great thing for kids to see as well. Mine are around here somewhere. Like I said, I would normally dump, but because of wanting to show you guys, so I'm going to make sure you can see that. I'm just going to ladle it in. Okay. See these little chunks of cheese. It smells really good. Okay. And so this 1 quart of goat's milk will make a good size log of goat's cheese. So that's typically what I would buy at the store, is like a 16-ounce portion. You can get the smaller 8-ounce ones as well, and I'd say it makes somewhere in between that. But actually weigh it when we're done and see. You can already see as it's coming, as it's separating, it's looking more solid like goat cheese, and you see that whey coming out the bottom. All right, and it is going to take a bit for it to completely strain. But let's get all of this moved over first. You know, I think this might actually be less messy than the method I normally use. I might have to go for this. And so the great thing about goat cheese is it can be used in so many things. It's delicious if you add it, you know, spread it on bread for a sandwich. If you just want to have a little goat cheese and jam on your bread in the morning. You know, good quality cracker to go with it, or if you're feeling extra fancy, you can do some crostini from baguette or something like this. Got a great recipe for a whole grain or whole wheat baguette. I can link below if you want to try that. Get that made and then have your goat cheese appetizer to go with it. All right, we're going to dump what's left. Set that there. Make sure we get it all swirled in. Okay, that's it for now. All right, so we are going to draw it up. So you have a couple options here. You could leave it, so it's actually not touching the bottom of the strainer, the way is it? So I could leave my cheese just sitting in the strainer, but one of the reasons I also like to have the cheesecloth a little longer is so I can tie it up. So let me show you. Tie it, take the ends and tie it up securely. You want to make sure you definitely have it securely. You don't want all your hard work to go to waste. Okay. And then you just want to, again, you can leave it here, just sitting in the colander, totally fine. But one of the reasons that I like having that really tall faucet is that I can tie cheese to the neck of it and let it hang. So that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna move this whole bowl over there. Alright, so let's see. Tie it securely. Okay, just like that. And I'm gonna let it sit for about an hour. So take note of that. I'm gonna do a few other things around here and clean up, and then we'll check back in an hour and see our completed goat cheese. Okay, so the goat cheese has been straining for about an hour, so let's take it down and we're gonna get it ready to go in the fridge. All right, now cheesecloth can be reused. In some cases, I don't really reuse it because usually the kind I buy is not a super high quality. And I got strings coming off. So, oh, that looks awesome. All right, and it is a little crumbly and that's okay. It's kind of taking the shape of the cheesecloth, and you can certainly grab a spoon and scrape it out a little bit more, and I'll probably do that in a little bit. Let me just set it to the side for now. Okay, so at this point you want to salt your goat cheese before you roll it up into a log. You can leave it like this if you'd like. It has a nice shape to it, but it's unsalted, as you'll remember. So you could also choose to salt it kind of at the point where you're putting it into your cheesecloth, and that's good too. This is also a good chance to add some herbs and things like that. So I'm just going to break it up with my hand. Our goat cheese is a bit more crumbly than you know, a ricotta that's made similarly, and I just kind of eyeball it, guys, like I salt everything else. So for this quart of goat cheese, I might use half a teaspoon and then salt it more as needed. But this is also a great way to use some fresh herbs. Think about like thyme and sage or some rosemary if you want like an herbed goat cheese log. Okay, so I've got it worked in there. My salt, okay, and you could certainly try a piece. I think we need a little more salt with my goat cheese fingers here, okay. So between half a teaspoon and a full teaspoon, okay. And you can certainly leave it like this. This is perfect for putting on a salad or topping like a piece of avocado toast. All right, or you can roll it up in a log, kind of like what you would see at the grocery store. So let's try that. I'm gonna press it in. Okay, and just roll it up using the wax paper to help you press, but not get your hands super dirty. Keep the sides in tight, kind of roll that as you go. Make a nice little goat cheese package there. I'm just like wrapping around a tubular Christmas present. Okay, don't pull too tight or your wax paper will rip. Okay, and so there you go. You can make goat cheese. I just want to put it in the fridge. If you're going to use it for something like an appetizer that you need it in this log shape, then I would let it chill for a couple hours in the refrigerator. So, but that's how you make fresh goat cheese. I hope you found that helpful.